The amendment from Councilmember Evan Shabazz, that's the same kind of thing that I asked you about yesterday when we met about seeing what that infrastructure money is going to look like. I think the difference between what she offered and what I would like to see is I want to see what that money is before we take this vote, because it's one thing to come back, and I understand that, and I'm appreciative of that and supported that amendment, but I want to see the full picture before I understand what I'm voting on. And no, we might not get $2 billion, but even if we get some money that we don't have to increase the rate as much, I would like to know that before we vote. So I feel like I don't have the full picture, and I'd rather see us not defer the infrastructure improvements, but using ARPA money for the next couple of months until we get the other infrastructure money in, so that we understand the full picture before we take that vote. So unless we're doing that, I don't feel like I have the full picture to say yes to this today.
Well, we're not able to use the American Rescue dollars for it because that's used primarily to address our budgetary concerns. So you can't, that's like robbing from Peter to pay Paul, and it puts yourself further in a ditch. So we can't do that. In terms of waiting to see what D.C., the President and the Congress were going to do in infrastructure, I don't think we want to get behind that bus. Because we don't know what's going to happen there. We hope for the best. We hope that we get infrastructure dollars. And Councilmember Evan Shabazz put forth the amendment that says that if that should happen, and depending on what they do, we certainly can consider that to decrease of these water rates. That's something that we can factor in, and we are doing that. But we are already, Councilmember, on the margins of maintaining the debt credit ratio. If we fall below 1.2%, we will put ourselves in default and could be possibly dinged by the credit rating agencies or be held in default. You don't want to do that. This is our water and wastewater systems, so you don't want that to happen. At the same time, there are certain timelines in the consent decree for us to implement the terms of the consent decree. So you can't wait on that. If you end up waiting on that and we don't meet those benchmarks, we are subject to be dinged. And again, that penalty could be as much as $100,000 per day per incident. So you don't want that. The third item, what I will say to you, is that water main breaks don't halt, don't pause, because we'll pause. And let me tell you what I've discovered from people in the city of Houston. If there are backups, raw sewage backing up, then what people in those communities, neighborhoods say, why haven't y'all addressed this? If you all can remember when we had to boil water in February and had major water problems across the city, you know what people were saying? Why didn't they take care of that? This is nothing new. So why didn't they take preventive steps? When the East Houston main leak took place, pipes that were put in place in 1967, and they went out to change the valve, but then discovered that whole pipe kind of crumbled, and people went without water for several days. I got a lot of emails saying, why hadn't this mayor taken care of this? Other than the fact that the mayor gets blamed for everything. But nonetheless, so we got that. The point is, the infrastructure needs in this city are real. They are real. And if you look at the water main, the map that the director had to put out, in every district, from District A to District K, there are serious water main leaks in the city. So I understand what you're saying, and let me just tell you, there is never a good time to raise anybody's fees. I don't care whether it's today or 10 years from now. There is never a good time. But it is important that we have the infrastructure, because we've got to build the type of city that people are proud to live in and want to come to. Oh. Anything else? Because I took up some of your time. So.
Just Mayor, I believe that the ARPA fund specifically talks about how you can use it for water and wastewater infrastructure repairs. So I disagree that we can't use it for that purpose.
Well, I understand, but let me tell you, you've got police needs, you've got solid waste needs,